Good morning. It is 7 something in the morning, which is pretty early for me, but that's my goal. I've been trying to get up earlier, even though it's summer. I feel like usually in the summer I sleep in, but this year I'm trying to get up earlier so that I can be very productive in my summer. So I have my scriptures here, and I'm gonna walk you guys through my morning scripture study time with the Lord, and I wanted to do it with you guys so that if you are looking for a scripture routine, or if you're just wanting to improve yours, or if you're just not sure what other people do and you just kind of want to get some other ideas to change yours up, or to make yours a little more easier for you, anything like that. I have a scripture routine that I feel like I've been working on for years, and I feel like I found a really good groove, a good routine that I like to do. So I'm gonna do that with you guys, and if there's anything, I'm not gonna like read stuff out loud, but if there is anything that stands out to me that I want to share, I will share. But basically I'll just tell you what I do and then I'll do it. So I always start with my prayer journal, where I open it up and I have a prayer written down that I like to have a question written down throughout my study, and then if I feel like I receive an answer that I want to write down, then I'll write it down, and if I don't, then I save it for the next study. In this case, I have one question. I usually like to have two, so I'm just going to think of and write another question to write down before I say my morning prayer. Say my morning prayer, I just pull out my Book of Mormon, which this one is amazing. It's the journal edition of the Book of Mormon, and so basically it opens up where it's got a lot of space on the sides for you to write with your study of the day. And so I'm just gonna study, and this is my scripture code I've made, where I follow that along with my study, or my scripture color code. So I follow it along with my studies so that if I have something stands out to me that I want to highlight or that I want to mark, I do it within the color code to help me just with my study. So currently I'm reading 2nd Nephi chapter 15. I'm starting off right at the beginning of it. Usually I'll read like a column. If I have time for more, I'll do more. Or if I feel like I need more to understand. Or sometimes I'll read a little less if I'm more in depth on one verse because I'm trying to understand it more, but it just depends on how much time I take on the verses, how much I read. So I just finished reading this, and in my study in 2nd Nephi 15, there's a few verses that really stood out to me, and the first 4, 15 and 16 that say, "And the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness." Then 20 to 22 says, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto the wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto the mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle in strong drink. I really liked these verses because I feel like it's a warning and it's a reminder that there is so much wicked or evil in the world, and that we need to be wary of it, that we need to be aware of it, but also that we need to humble ourselves down and not let ourselves be swallowed up in the evil of the world, which, like it says in here, there's so much good, but, you know, good and evil is being swapped. How it says they call evil good and good evil, light dark and dark light. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking how we need to allow ourselves to be humbled by the Lord, and we need to learn for ourselves what is good and what is evil. And as we do that, we need to really stand up for good. We need to be that light to the world, help everyone else around us find that good. I think too often we get caught up in our own circumstances or our own struggles that we forget to see the good in the world, or we get too caught up in the things that are going bad or going wrong, and we forget to realize what is good, and then we get wrapped up in things that are not good and begin to really let them take hold of our lives and become what we think is good, or at least what we think we need, when in reality what we need is what's actually good, and that is the Lord. That is kindness, that is good in the world, is what we need. But we let the struggles in our lives take over our lives, and we lose control of what's good and what we truly need. And that's just kind of what I got from this study today, that we can and we need to stand against evil and help everyone around us find what's good, find the Lord. Now, after I do my Book of Mormon study, I do my Come Follow Me study, which is this book here. It's an incredible book, an incredible study that really just helps me read more into the scriptures and just understand the scriptures that I'm reading more. Right now, this one is for the Doctrine and Covenants, which is the book that Joseph Smith wrote, was commanded to write by the Lord, and it gives a lot of deeper insight into the Bible and the Book of Mormon, but it really has helped me to understand it more by reading it through the Come Follow Me handbook or manual or whatever it's called. So right now I'm in Doctrine and Covenants 81 to 83, and I like to just take time each day to read one of the sections. So today I'm reading that first one in the personal section, where it says I can be faithful in doing what the Lord asks of me. Just reading Doctrine and Covenants 81, so I'll read that, do that study, and then I will share what I learned from it, share what I gained from it. This section talking about fulfilling your calling and being good and faithful to the Lord within your calling and within your life. it says, you know, listen to the voice of him who speaketh, to the word of the Lord your God. And I love that, you know, listen to the Lord, listen to what he has to say to you, because if you do listen, you will hear him, you will feel him and what he wants to tell you, whether that's just I love you, or whether that's I need you to do this for me and for this other person, or anything else. You know, we need to listen to him and fulfill what he needs and asks of us. And further into our own callings, that we need to be faithful and we need to actually go for it, fulfill these callings and do what the Lord has asked. I love how it says, succor the weak, lift up the hands which hang down, and strengthen the feeble knees. We need to be there for each other, especially for those who are struggling, which is everyone at some point in their lives. And we are called to help one another, to lift each other up, to be kind to each other, to focus on being a light in one another's lives and serving one another, filling each other with kindness, with love, with hope, and focusing on what's good, what's best. And you know, I think it's said perfectly here, and in this whole section it is talking about how you can be faithful in doing what the Lord asks of you, like the section header says. You know, and it asks questions, what can we do? Who are the weak? What can we do to help the weak? Who are the feeble knees? Or what does it mean to have feeble knees? What can you do to help them? And like, what might cause a person to figuratively hang their hands down? How can you help them? There's so many different things that in here is like, what does this mean? How can you help them? And in reality, it shows me that there's such a variety of struggle. There's such a variety of ways that people need help and ways that other people, that we can help each other. And with that, I just think this is where the Lord is really telling us that everybody's going to need help and everybody has a way to give that help that other people need. And so we really do need to, as it says in the very beginning of the scripture, to listen to the Lord, listen to what he has to tell you, what he needs from you, and to be faithful in doing it. I just realized I bought a ring light and this whole time it has not been on. Does it even do anything, make a difference? I don't know, well, I'll have it on for the rest of the video. If it makes a difference, awesome. I don't want it super bright because it's early and I'm tired, but if it makes a difference, awesome. If it doesn't, cool. And suddenly the video is a little bit brighter, different lighting. And hopefully you guys are like, what the heck? So, after I finish my Come Follow Me study, I like to take my iPad and I like to just read an article from either one of the articles from within the Gospel Library app or within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints website. I just like to read these articles. There's so many really, really good ones. And so lately I've been reading in the Liahona and each month's Liahona magazines, where I'm in July, and I just like to usually go through. If I feel like I don't really want to read one or it doesn't really apply to me, I might skip it, but for the most part I just go through. So it's just in, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just in the, oh, the ring light. It's just in the Gospel Library app, it's in the Liahona. And this article that I'll be reading today is called Please Come Back. It's by Carlos Ferreira. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He's from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, so that's really cool. So I'm going to read his words. And again, I'll share with you anything that stands out, highlights that I think is really awesome. This was a really good, just short little article. I loved in it. He talks about how his family found the church, the missionaries came to them and shared the gospel with them, and they found the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and then he fell away. And I love what he says here. He said, when I was 17, things in my life directed me to a different path. I tried to be a good person, and I never had a bad heart, but I got lost and started living the ways of the world. Without my knowing or realizing it, the world grabbed me. And I love how he said that he's a good person. It's not like he's a bad person. It's not like he desired bad things. He just got caught up in the ways of the world, and I feel like that happens to everybody, how we get caught up in the ways of the world, how our focus shifts from the Lord to a different path, to more worldly things, to focusing on the world, the trends of the world, the things in the world, and not necessarily on the Lord, which obviously, yes, we're in the world, so we need to be aware of things, know what's going on, be involved, but our main focus should always be on the Lord. And obviously, that is hard. Obviously, it's hard because, you know, the devil is trying to keep us from that. He is trying to focus on pulling us away and pulling us into the things of the world, and no matter what, it's gonna be hard to fight against the ways of the world, or to not get wrapped up in them, and to keep our focus and our path on the Lord. And I think the biggest thing with that is your desire. Sometimes we just don't want to focus on the Lord, and we just want to let go and just focus on the world. And sometimes we just feel like the Lord isn't there for us or with us, or sometimes we just don't even want that, which is hard. Which is hard because, you know, we're good people, but we're people, and so we struggle. We'll fall off the path, we'll get back on, we'll be thrown off the path, we'll make our way back, we'll wander off the path and be lost for a while, and then eventually find our way back. You never know what it's going to be like for your life. You may think my life is not going to end up away. I'm going to be set straight on the path, I'm not going to falter, and then something happens and the next thing you know, you're far from it and you don't even realize how. But I love how he said, he was just completely honest that the world got to him and he lost his way. But then it goes on to further where he talks about how he and his wife one day said that they need church in their life, or they need religion in their life, because they were realizing what they were missing and how the world was, and they didn't want their children to grow up without religion, without the Lord. And so they went back to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and going back to this church, they were able to find their way back to the Lord, and then prepare their children and help their children find their way to the Lord. And they realize, you know, he says in here that he realizes that that's most important to him, and that's what he really wants to be most important to his children, to his family. And I think that's really cool. I mean, realizing that, deciding for yourself that, yes, this is what I want, that's what's most important to me, is the Lord, is religion, the gospel. And I think with that, encompasses everything else in your life. You'll be able to find that path and stick to it. And when you feel like you're falling off, you can pull yourself back on before you fall. But I just really loved it. I love this article. After I read an article, I will take my journaling time, and I'll take my time to think and to write and to really focus on just myself, my personal questions, my personal thoughts with my study, with my day yesterday, with my day today, my future, my past, my hopes, my thoughts, just like all of the above. It's like a brain dump, whatever's on my mind. But yeah, so I think, you know, I have always felt it's very important to journal and to write down my thoughts when I'm looking at family history. One of my favorite things when I'm looking at my ancestors is reading their stories and reading what they wrote. And you know, the only way I really have their stories is if they or a loved one or someone wrote it down. And for me, it's really important for my posterity, for my future, and even my future self to have these things, to have the stuff written down, especially when my focus is so strong on the gospel, because I know there will be times when it's not. So when it is, I really like to write it down so that in the future I can go back and read it and remind myself of these feelings that I feel. So I'm just going to take my journal time to myself, and then I will talk to you guys a little more. After I take time in my journal, then I just refer back to my prayer journal and I read the questions that I have written down, and I just ponder them a little bit and think if there's anything I have to write down about the questions or to answer them. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to think about them, maybe write something down, maybe not. If I don't, that's okay, but if I do, then awesome, I have another question answered in a way. So that's my scripture study. That's what I like to do in the mornings. Sometimes, some days I shorten it because it's a long study. Some days I shorten it and just do little Book of Mormon reading, come follow me, and journaling. Some days I have to do it super short and just read my Book of Mormon. Some days I miss, which isn't awesome, but happens. And some days, like today, I get the time to just really nourish myself, really enjoy the time I take with the Lord, and do it all at a nice, easy, slow pace. I can really understand it and just take it all in as much as I possibly can. With the scriptures, there is always more you can learn. No matter how many times you read a verse, I feel like there's always something else you can learn from that verse, receive from that verse, or gain from it. I think most importantly, if you're prioritizing this time with the Lord, if you're prioritizing time to study your scriptures, to pray, to really take time to feel the Lord with you and to have Him in your day, then you will make that time. If you prioritize it, you will make that time to spend with Him. It's taken me a lot of years to really actually get into a routine. I mean, I think the first time I ever read the Book of Mormon all the way through wasn't until I was 14 maybe, or 15, maybe even older. I don't remember, I just remember doing it the first time when I was in high school, and I when I was, I think, beginning of high school and then middle school, but I don't think I've read the Book of Mormon all the way through more than 3 times because I do it really slow. I either have done it really slow because I've just not read for a long time, or I do it really slow because I really take my time to read. But I've always been pretty consistent with journaling, but that's the only thing I've been really consistent with until I would say these past 2 or maybe 3 years of my life. I've actually gotten into a consistent routine with studying my scriptures, and I have seen so many blessings from it. I feel like I've seen so much growth from it. I've really been helped through it. I feel like the Lord, I have him with me more throughout my day. If I study my scriptures, I just feel more calm, feel more at peace, reassured. I feel safer, I feel happier. I feel more willing to serve and to focus on others, and I feel like I receive answers a lot more because I'm asking them and because I'm taking the time to study and really seek them out. But yeah, if you're not in a good study routine, or if you're not in a good routine where you're taking time with the Lord, or even just taking time for mindfulness, I really encourage you to make that time for yourself, because more than anything, it is so good for yourself. It's such a self-care, self-love act and time that you really focus on yourself and on caring for yourself, which is so important. So yeah, that's my study. Now I'm just going to go exercise, take a little walk, eat my breakfast to get ready for the day and get going with my day. So thank you guys. I hope this video helped you in some way. And I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. I hope you find ways to spread kindness and love to others, and I hope you feel loved yourself. I'd really appreciate it if you liked this video, if you subscribed to my channel. Comment below and let me know what your favorite part of your study time is, of your time with the Lord is. If you've got any unique twists to it that you want to share with the rest of us, I would really love to hear what other people do for their study habits. Or if you have any questions, please ask me. If you don't feel comfortable asking me in front of everybody, I totally understand that. You can always ask me questions on my Instagram, just messaging me at Kylie Norlander. And like I said, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you feel loved and find ways to be kind to others. Thanks for being here.